Chapter 8 City of Mesto. The sound of yelling begins as Belthinium scouts rain down on the city. Nimble and fast at short range, the scout is a frontline unit as well as a worker. They are roughly 3 feet long with a rectangular body and 3 small thrusters for moving. Currently they are outfitted for war, supporting a machine gun. Due to their size, the scouts are limited to a 10 caliber bullet, vastly ineffective at long range but deadly up close. They descend as Belthinium conches fire much bigger 90 caliber explosive balls onto the city. These large swirling bots are terribly slow, but hard to destroy due to their thick armor and heavy guns. Ahmad and Amalthea rush through the debris as creatures all around them take cover. The new master sees Ahmad summon his helmet and armor. She follows suit with fearful excitement. "Charminos?" Ahmad calls out as bullets pelt the ground around them. In the blink of an eye, they are both tumbling back with ears ringing as a 90 caliber ball slams to the ground beside them. The old master stabs his weapon into the ground, bringing himself to a stop. Charging his staff, he rises to his feet and unleashes a bewildering wave of power from the staff, then holds his hand out. "Wobbleman Alaskakin!" he yells as bullets bounce off his armor. The wave of power he created forms into small spikes gleaming with dark magic. They tear through scouts and ping harmlessly against the conch as it slowly descends towards them. Amalthea holds out her hands, one of which is bearing a short blue staff. It burns with dark power as she projects the titanic ward in front of herself and Ahmad. The ward illuminates brightly as explosions rock the ground before them. Her master aims his focus at the ward. It bursts outward, pushing scouts and 90 caliber balls out of the way. A blur of blue flashes before the mages as the ground rises in front of them, propelling Charminos upward behind the ward and towards Beltham Conch. He raises 2 swords, one a standard steel smooth blade, the other a heavy serrated bastard blade. Molten fire erupts from the blades and spills onto the conch's armor, melting through it. The massive floating vessel begins descending until it hits the ground and rolls off the cliffside. Well, this is a nice surprise. Charminos lands near the mages as they regroup on the steps of what was once the Hall of Grand Elementals. They look around at the buildings below, which are surrounded by warriors in handcrafted steel plate and split mail armor similar to late European design. Normally, challenging someone who has a gun and medieval armor would seem like a bad idea. However, this armor is forged by elementals. It is incredibly dense, cumbersome but protective, allowing the soldier inside to exert a number of combat forms with little risk. Some carry swords, axes, and other physical weapons, others use their elemental power. Hand-to-hand combat is not advised when wearing this armor, but can be used as a last resort. The use of firearms, like with most regions, is not yet known or accepted, so no elemental soldier uses them. These soldiers are led by the hard-as-nails elemental Valkyrie, who seem to excel in the use of all elemental abilities. Their armor is almost entirely like a regular soldier's armor, but with a greater freedom of movement, allowing for more effective hand-to-hand combat. Also, they carry a red cloth on their shoulder plates as a symbol of rank. This is a practice used for all ranks within their army, but the Valkyrie is the only one who carries a red cloth. Everyone else uses some form of black cloth. Why not on the head? Better that a sniper aims for the shoulder than for the head. A muscular young man covered in tattoos approaches Charminos and addresses him. Who did we piss off now? Bullets bounce off the concrete near them. "It's Beltham, they're always in a bad mood." Charminos responds before turning to Ahmad. "I'll see you two later. Come on, let us find the other blades." Malku responds with a nod as they both race off into the smoke. "We need to leave here and get to Loria," Ahmad says as he raises his staff for another spell. "Lux Executientem." The scouts around them immediately collapse to the ground, frozen completely still. Sisalat al-Bark! Amalthea yells as pink lightning erupts from her staff and spiderwebs to each one of the Belthinium scouts. Tactically, a wise spell to use, but also a bright, attention-getting mistake. A carrier turns his attention to the mages and begins firing heavy .40 caliber balls at them. A ward, courtesy of Ahmad, stops this. The Belthimium carrier is the largest mass-produced bot the Belthim has to offer. It commands all other types of Belthim except for the mother unit. This ship is capable of transporting its most devastating unit over a long distance safely under a heavy layer of armor and a few heavy cannons. 2 large doors open on both sides of this behemoth as it faces them. Out from each side pops 2 Belthimium Ophidian units. They weave through the air like snakes, looping and twisting, using a system of highly sophisticated thrusters. One lands on a building and begins firing 20 caliber balls at a few elemental soldiers, until a Valkyrie bashes the snake-like bot in its face with a warhammer. Tenebris Mundi! Amalthea yells as a dark burning sword appears in her hands. She charges it with magic for a devastatingly powerful slash at the creature. The wave of power sails by harmlessly as the Ophidian cracks off a few rounds of her and the Valkyrie. This is all the creature can muster before her master fires a jagged hook into the creature's glass dome head. It is attached to a chain that is linked to Ahmad's staff. Rapt Wassel Scylla! He yells while swinging his staff backward. The chain pulls hard, snapping what is left of the head off of the Ophidian. The second Ophidian busts up through the concrete behind Ahmad and rams him in the back, sending him tumbling forward. Master's back pops in an unnatural way as he stands and faces the creature. Pain in his ribcage forces him to take quick, light breaths. The mechanical terror launches into the air, but the Valkyrie knocks it into a wall via her giant warhammer. Sensing its destruction, the Ophidian sends out a distress signal via a system of clicks and beeps. Within seconds, the group is fighting off waves of scouts as another Belthimian conch makes its way toward the scene. Ahmad falls to one knee as his breathing becomes more difficult over time. A round rips through Amalthea as her natural wards begin to fail from lack of stamina. She bleeds from a spot directly below her collarbone. She rushes through the piles of broken machinery to get to her master as bullets pelt her, bouncing off her fading wards. The mages stand together near a rapidly fading stone wall, both with hands outstretched. They desperately hold a ward that is currently under so much fire. The inside of the ward is pitch black with flashes of fire and sparks from the outside that briefly illuminate them. The eye of the Beltham storm focuses directly on the 2 magic users as they desperately try to stay alive. As if a blessing from above, the smoke and pressure begins to wane until they can see all around them. Piles of scouts and a few Ophidian lay around them. However, the true spectacle comes when the ground begins to tremble from the crashing conch behind them. Slowly, their ringing ears begin to go silent as sounds around them come back into being. Ahmad falls over as his broken ribs continue to crunch. Bullet wounds all over begin opening as their blood veins unconstrict. Amalthea's vision goes blurry as the tattooed man from earlier speaks.
Are you okay, man? Get them to Loria, now!
Taormina's voice rings out as she falls backward, and her vision goes black.